This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and the dynamic SimRacersWorld GT Championship presented by Apex Racing TV, and we're here for round 1 of this season 5 of the championship here at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. My name's Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me this evening is Marco Barbanera. And Marco, we have had a few terrific seasons of this championship, and it is terrific to see how it's elevated season after season, and this is the pinnacle on the iRacing Esports Network. Thank you very much to iRacing for giving this series this opportunity, and I mean, this is really what the series deserves, because, well, any of you who haven't seen this championship before, well, you're about to find out that we see some terrific racing over the course of 12 rounds in this championship.
Yes, absolutely. Hello everyone. Hello Sam. First of all, apologies to the viewers. Stream starting a bit late. New procedure for us tonight. Apparently now it's going everything fine. As we say hello to the stewards, Bert Delman saying hello to us from the stewards room, and the drivers and all the viewers, our colleagues watching. What a great night it is going to be, Sam. And as you can see, the drivers are actually driving into the morning. We are into the qualifying session, which will be 20 minutes long, and then we will be racing. And you know, the more the time and the race goes ahead, the 1 hour race, and the sun will rise, the track will get hotter, and the race will be even more interesting than with the strategies, the way the drivers will approach. And of course, Spa-Francorchamps at night, I can tell you from experience, having been there, it's magic.
Absolutely, and you can see how good a job iRacing have done of recreating this circuit with each of the buildings letting out its bit of light, really illuminating this circuit. It looks terrific, the cars look terrific. I mean, the setting is absolutely perfect for this round 1 of the championship, of course. And we've got some nice cameras as well to show off as well. So, you know, everything's just coming together. It's fantastic when a plan works. Of course, for this championship, anyone who isn't familiar, we've got a 20-minute qualifying session. We're halfway through that currently, and then for the race, it's a 1 hour race. That's pretty much it. It sounds simplistic. It is relatively simplistic, because There's no reverse grids or whatever. It is just a 1 hour race, simple as you like, with a pit stop as well. The drivers are limited on fuel. These GT3 cars usually can go an hour at this Spa-Francorchamps circuit, which is very high fuel consumption. Admittedly, it would be difficult to do in the entire hour, but they are limited to about 60% fuel. So they will have to pit around mid-stage. So that's what to keep out for. And also, because we've got the 3 different classes, you'll see probably on the overlay how we've got gold, silver, and bronze classes. I don't think I really need to explain which is the highest. I think all of you are intelligent enough to work that one out. And this system, Marco, really does mean that everyone has a championship to fight for. Last season in particular, the silver championship was ever so close. Out of the 10 drivers who were eligible for it, I think we had about 6 different winners. In the bronze category, very similar as well. And it's just brilliant. Rather than having pro and am, really this system is much more appropriate and it's much more enjoyable for the drivers.
Absolutely, and the fact that for every one of the drivers there is something to fight for, and to fight for with drivers of equal caliber, it's really, and of course the great racing is the main ingredients of this championship and the reason why it has such a big success, and the fact that the organizers do a fantastic job behind the scenes, as Martin van Loosenhoort, after setting the pole time, parks the car on the side. I think that this series is one of the best, if not the best, that iRacing has to offer right now, and we are so happy to bring it to you on the Esports Network. I'm sure you guys watching are going to love it. Of course, you are very much familiar with my colleague Sam for his Monday and Tuesday nights, on the World GT and the MX5. So basically, if you like him, you have 3 days in a row with him now on the Esports Network.
I can hear the screams around the globe of that, but no, I'll certainly take it. Very pleased to be doing the World GT Championship, of course, on a Monday evening. Got many more rounds of that to go, actually, and the BSR MX5 Pro Series. I mean, actually, Tyler Maxson, unfortunately, is going to have to drop that series due to other commitments. So we are going to need an extra pair of hands for that championship. Perhaps a certain Italian will join us for that, but we'll have to wait and see.
I think we have an interview, by the way.
Oh, yes, of course. And I won't take this one from you.
Oh, thank you very much. I think we have one of our members of the crew, of the Steward crew. It's Peter Growls with us. Hello, Peter.
Hello, good evening, guys.
So welcome to the booth, and it's time to get ready for the season, the first proper round tonight. So, are you guys ready in the stewards room? Are you excited?
Yeah, we are, because things are more structured since last season, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
What are the things you are mostly looking for tonight? We know that this track can be tricky. We know that the chicanes in the first lap, a lot of drafting, and of course we are starting from the Formula 1 starting position, so that hairpin could be an issue, not only at the start of the race, of course, but also we might see some lunges there during the race as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we try to notify the drivers before the start of the first lap to take it easy. We do that through a in-game voice chat before they start the race. You always got those first couple of laps that you kind of ride in a train, and that you have to slow down a little bit and you brake a little bit earlier than you're used to. But yeah, it's something that we want to bring to attention to the drivers before the race.
Spa is of course a track where the track limits are always an issue. How are you approaching that particular problem?
Well, it's more an iRacing problem than it is a problem of ours. But we have, of course, also an incident limit. Not as much. We have more incident than you can have at the official races. So we're a little bit more gentle, but let iRacing itself solve that, so to speak. If you go over the incident limit, the limits that iRacing defines, then you also be disqualified for a race of ours.
Perfect, Peter. Thank you very much. You have a tough night of work ahead of you, so good luck and enjoy the pizza.
Yeah, thanks. I'll try to come a little bit sooner in the future, so we'll have qualifying to talk about what's really going on and what we really look for. Maybe we can prepare some things for the future.
Perfect, awesome. Thank you very much once again. Good luck tonight in the stewarding room.
Yeah, sure. Have a nice evening, guys.
That was Peter Grauls, of course, one of the 3 members of the stewarding crew. Sam. So this series leaves nothing, nothing left, to fate or destiny. They have everything under control and try to give as much as a professional setting for these drivers as possible. Also, we have many real-life drivers in action tonight, and so this is always a plus, I think. Scattered, especially in the gold category, but not only there. And seems like our pole sitter at the moment is Martin van Loosenhoord. He's sporting a big bright yellow number 1, and that means he's last season's champion. Certainly a fantastic season for him last year. Very dominant, coming into the series and bringing home the title in dominant fashion, and now switching cars, now driving the Ferrari. Also to put himself in a challenge, basically, Sam. No, that's what he said to us.
Yes, he was initially going to go for the McLaren. I think he kind of realised that he wants a challenge, not suicide, pretty much, in that car. So he's picked the Ferrari instead, which may well be quite strong around this circuit. As far as I'm aware, the Ferrari in the GTEs and the GT3s tends to be pretty good at the end of the straights. Anyone who's watched the F1 at the weekend knows that certainly Ferrari tend to go pretty well around here because, yes, the top end speed is absolutely terrific. Or is very important around this track. Only a couple of minutes to go in qualifying, and of course, once you start a lap, you can finish it.
Ruben van Buel missing from media day, and you can see the, can we say, sanitized version of his legendary livery. We know all about the rules and regulations to race on the esports network, which we, of course, and the series respects, and that was basically a 1990s Jordan tribute livery, the days of Eddie Irvine, more or less, and had some sponsors. They have been replaced, but I like that he kept the color scheme, which was, I have to say, iconic, and one that we have learned to love over the course of the season. David Fuller, the bronze champion, now in silver, and temporarily in pole position in his class, so showing great adaptability to the new series, new class, of course. And we can spend 2 words about the temporary pole sitter in bronze, Ingemar Andersson. He has been a late entry to the championship, and the organizers have put him into the bronze class. I have had a chat with the series organizer Ian Roots, and he told me that that is more than likely going to change after tonight's race. So he might not be classified as a bronze after all, even including tonight's race. So he might be a bit quicker than the other bronze drivers, and now you know why. Basically, he is probably going to be put into the silver or golden categories after tonight's race. We shall see later in the week, basically, to see what happens. But certainly another driver from the Rev Match contingent. There are several of them, and you can tell them apart by this brightly colored white, blue, and pink livery, which I find absolutely astonishing. And let's see, Pimbo in 3rd place in his class, and Dries Mujdi second in bronze. And P39 right now, 12 in silver for Ryan Walker, the other Ryan Walker of iRacing. Not our Ryan Walker, but a very quick driver nonetheless. Nice to have him here for Nomad Sim Racing in this championship, as the clock is, well, struck 20 minutes, Sam, so we are just waiting for the drivers to finish their final lap times, as some drivers are saying, I've had enough, let's go back to the pits.
Yes, worth practicing that pit entry.
Yeah.
I was racing with someone who, I say racing, it was kind of a teammate in another car bars in the 24 hours Spa. He managed to pretty much flip his car over that wall. Managed to get it on its side, I believe. Not the best line to take.
And I can tell you it's a pretty steep cliff behind that pit wall.
And it is a cliff. Pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah, there is nothing that can stop the car, basically. Once you go over, you go over. Iwan Marshall coming home for Meraki. There he is in front of, I think that was James Hobden with his beautiful livery. Then Steve Clace, of course. Only 24th position for him. Another driver, Bod Boland, on track. I don't think that Steve will be able to finish his lap. Rob Tyson also, maybe he will get the chance to finish his lap. As the number 311 of Tyson comes around the chicane and goes around.
Dear.
Oh, that's very, very unlucky. Let's see if Steve Clace can improve on his time and manage not to spin. Very nice exit there. And he comes home. Will he improve? Wow, he does. P16, so he jumps all the way up into 3rd place in his class. And that was the last driver we were waiting for. In just a second, we will go through the starting grid for this first round of the season. It has been a summer of waiting for us, Sam, but finally we are here after the beautiful media day in Daytona last week. We are ready to bring you the championship proper, starting from tonight.
Yes, definitely. One of the major changes from last season, so keep this in mind when we talk about the silver and the bronze categories, and it also applies to the gold as well. Last season, wherever you finished in your class, that was how many points you got. So if you were first place in silver, you got 25 points. If you were second, you got 20. Third, 16, and so on. However, this season, all the drivers score points together. So first place overall gets 20 or 100 points. So first place in the silver category could really get any amount of points depending on what their overall position is. So not only do you want to beat your class rivals, you also want to beat your other the drivers in the other classes. You want to score as many points as possible. Of course, the championship very fresh, but drivers will be desperate to get off to a good start. And off to a good start, no doubt, is Martin Van Liesman. He's on pole position by 0.6 of a second over Kevin van der Sleek. PJ Clayton starts in 3rd place with Job van Utrecht in 4th. Then it's Ruben van Buell. Good to see him here in the BMW in 5th. Then it's Dion Phillips, Chris Warner, Matthias de Teege, Lewis Ward, and Robin Monster, I believe, in his first race in this series. Then it's Marvin Amont, Nick Shermans, Brian Holmes, David Fuller, Ingmar Anderson, Steve Glaze, Ewan Marshall, Tom Metherell, Ben Thanes, Gregory Vranks, Bod Berlin, Seb Herber, Ian Roots, Neil Cooper, Jais Mujdi, Ronald Moons, Roy Verke, and then it's Jeremy Hessels, Chris Muretta, Ben Mears, Lee Deemer, John McConville, Pim Bow, Tyler Lugo Vickery, Thijs Berg, Stu Musselwhite, Ryan Walker, James Hobden, Lee Woodburn, Bram Van Utven, Rob Thiessen, and Scott Malcolm. Those were the drivers who set times. Danny Crows, who's very quick, always a danger for a podium.
Pedal issues for him.
Yeah, pedal issues. Thank you for telling me that, Marco. So maybe he won't take the start. William Bush and Stephen Castrop also didn't set times. That might be, issues in the real world or whatever. But of course, it's so easy to pick up a 1x around here. Once you pick up a 1x, your lap time is invalidated, and it's very possible that you've done in the entire 20-minute qualifying session and you haven't got a valid lap in. I'd be surprised if someone hasn't done that. But Marco, I mean, unfortunately, I had to read a lot of names, so that is one of the pains of such a large field. But how competitive this field is. It is quite incredible when you look at, for example, Marvin Amont in 11th place, a driver who was getting podiums at the starts of last season. When you got Steve Clays a little bit further down. Bod Boland, he starts in 21st place. I mean, he's finished in 2nd and 3rd places in the championship. In the last 2 seasons, respectively. I mean, this field is incredibly high quality, and we are in for one incredible season coming up.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Fantastic field of cars, and they are finally rolling, Sam, starting under the lights here in Spa. It's going to be great. I am sure of this, as we have Ben Mew starting from the pits, by the way. Danny Cruz is racing, a real-life driver, of course, in a TCR competition. He hopefully has been able to sort his issues, but time for talking is over, and time for racing is here. Pace car about to take the hard right, and we will be good to go for 1 hour of great racing.
So Season 5 of the dynamic SimRacersWorld GT Series is about to get underway. It's a Rev Match Racing Esports 1-2, and away we go for race 1 of the season. Fantastic start for Van Loosenor. Straight away gets ahead of Kevin van der Sleek. Under a little bit of pressure from the alley just behind of Clayson's, but he hangs on going into La Source. Clayson's a little bit under pressure from Utah's, as we've got a spin around, and that is Dion Phillips, who's qualified really well up in 6th place, and he might even make a little bit more contact with a few drivers who are trying to go down the inside of him. Phillips does his best to get out of the way, but there is a lot of positions lost for one of the drivers in the top 10 early on. But his teammates are doing superbly well, 1st and 2nd places at the moment. Great start for Tatij. He's gone from 8th up into 5th. Sherman's up 2 places. Monster up 2 places, and Methril up 4 places as well. As Clayson's loses the position, it's a Rev Match Racing Esport 1, 2, 3. It's not anymore, because Clayson's kept his nose in there, and Van Uterts goes round. So a couple of the Rev Match Racing Esports drivers get an awful start. Him and one of the early drivers as well, and Van Uterts is going to drop right to the back of the field.
Yeah, that was maybe a bit too aggressive there, but in the end we have a car in the gravel, and that is of course never good. At the front of the pack, though, it's Van Loosenor and Van der Sleek 1st and 2nd. Their teammate was briefly in 3rd. Behind them now it's Clazen and Detij and Van Buell, who is now racing for SimRacersWorld Esports and not for his family team anymore, but still sporting his unique livery. As we have also drivers here in the back of the field, as Sebastian Eberer is going slowly on the inside of Double Gauche Puon, and proceeding very slowly. Here comes Van Uitert passing him, and Dion Phillips is just ahead. His car seems to be okay.
Yes, very fortunately so. I think he did make a little bit of contact with a few of the oncoming drivers, but not enough to put him off. And he's still in this race. Could be in for a superb drive through the field. There are a couple of drivers out of position, no doubt. So certainly do keep an eye out on them. But Van Loosenor with the perfect starts. He's 1 second clear of Van der Sleek. Tatij up 4 places in the end on that opening lap. So brilliant start for him from 8th on the grid. Monster up 3 places in the end. So
Essels is having an issue and pointing in the wrong way. Luckily he avoids further issues with the other drivers. Look at this pack of cars here, Sam. This is very, very tight. They have to be super careful. So easy to get involved with other competitors, and it is so tight. Just a small mistake can cause disasters as they go down Eau Rouge. Oh, Brian Holmes is flipping upside down, coming out of Raidion. He needs to tow back to the pits quickly before we have drama. Oh dear me, I knew that was going to happen straight away.
Oh, we got another big crash as well on the Camel Straight.
Oh god,
that's a lot of cars.
That is a disaster. What a mess we are having on the backstretch. Ryan Walker, Lee Woodburn, Scott Malcolm, involved in that as well. What a massive, massive hit for several of the drivers there. Maybe we can get a replay. This was already happening there at the front. And for some of the drivers, there was no way to avoid it. The cars were moving left and right. Maybe from Bentane's perspective, no, that was already in front. But certainly a big mess as Martin van Loosenor goes wide, but still is in the lead, and the pits will be very, very busy, I think, Sam. That was a massive hit.
When we get to the end of the race, though, 70% these drivers are allowed to put into their fuel tanks. And so, if they can nurse it a little bit further round, then they might be then they will probably try to do so. Not the longest pits in the world. We're not using the endurance pits. We're just using the Grand Prix, so it's actually a pretty quick pit lane, but still a massive setback. And these drivers don't get fast repairs either, so some damage can really set you back. A little bit of side by side with just behind this Pim Bauer, we're currently watching, but Lugo Vickery and Berg going side by side. Vickery just ending out on top there as they go into the final chicane for just the second time. We've already seen a lot of action, safe to say. Clay's having a battle with Marshall. Clay's third place way out of the silver drivers. And he is trying to protect that place from one of the gold drivers of Ewan Marshall. Both up 3 places so far. And it's a great opportunity as the sun starts to rise a little bit here at Spa in the sim. It's about 10 minutes past 5 currently. And it should just get lighter and lighter until it's almost completely light by the end of this hour-long race. Plays under pressure then as they go under the bridge down the Kemmel Straight once again. Terrific straight line speed seemingly for the Audi on the out, so for the the Mercedes on the outside. But he has to back out of it. Good defense there from Plays.
And then we see also Phillips trying to make up some position as Danny Cruz is in the grass. And he's not the only one driving third place. PJ Claesens is proceeding very slowly and losing positions.
Damage on that front end of the car. I think he... I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say he's run wide into No Name corner and then spun it into the barrier.
Beautiful replay of the trees. The classic crash that you get in that corner, no, Sam? Going a bit too wide, and I think he will have to contend with a lot of damage until he speeds up. Guy behind him, Warner, also seems to have... or no. I don't know if his rear wing is a bit bent on the left, or is it just me? I think it is a bit bent, to be fair.
Yes, that's what I'm seeing at least.
Claesens really hit hard on that wall, so he will be in a tough position for the rest of the race.
Lewis Wars on the hunt at the moment. Going into the chicane, a little bit narrow on the entry compared to the rest of the circuit. A little bit of contact with the rev match Ferrari just behind, as Neil Cooper is losing positions rapidly. Must be just behind these drivers, I think, but he was running up in the top 15 was Neil Cooper, but he's lost a lot of places all of a sudden. There he is. He's had a crash seemingly at Blanchemont, and that is a lot of damage. So not a good lap for Fury Simsport.
We'll get to the bottom of that very quickly. I think Blanchimon is the... Oh! Let's get maybe a better replay of that. Was there contact with his opponent? He clipped the grass slightly. I mean, he was already...
He was going round,
yeah.
Anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, Steve
Oh!
has got an issue.
No!
There he is. And we've had another issue at Radion. It's Dion Phillips, apologies. And yeah, a couple of crashes then at Radion so far. So this is what happened to Phillips. Taking a bit of curb on the inside there. Oh, he's just lost grip on the rear end of the car. Bounces back onto the circuit. Fortunately, not actually too bad for him. He's received the majority of the damage. Not sure who he made contact with. It was an Audi. But Yeah, really, really awful start for him, no doubt, Phillips. After that horrendous start, being spun at La Source, was trying to fight his way back with the few issues that there were for other drivers. It was looking like he could maybe salvage a decent result with the lack of damage on his car. Not anymore. Out in the lead, Martin van Nistelrooy absolutely dominating. He's over a second a lap faster than everyone else at the moment. And the last season champion, the reigning champion, pulling away. Kevin van der Slick scored a few podiums last season, and he's looking very strong. That Ferrari, seemingly the car to be in around this track. Well, tell that to Matthias de Tige, because he's doing superbly well in the BMW, up 5 places from his start to Tige, one of the veterans of the series. And he's got his teammates behind of Ruben van Buel, keeping him company. And then, of course, we've got that Alpine Sim Sport driver of Clayton's with damage. And that is some train behind him at the moment, Mark. But no one seemingly getting close to an overtake. But, I mean, all the way down to David Fuller in 12th place, just in line of stern.
Yeah, I mean, he's holding on. That was I'm surprised because these drivers behind him are very quick, and that was a big hit. Of course, this is the point where he's most vulnerable, the Kemmel Straight. Let's see if this is the right time for Warner. Depending on the inside is Glaciers, Warner will have to take the outside. Makes the move. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. Or maybe he can. No, he can't. So, good defending there from Claesens, but Warner, I think, will lose his patience very quickly. We might have some issues here because all these drivers want to make this move. And now on the outside, once again, Claesens.
Spinning round in the background.
It's Monster.
Can he get back going? That's going to be dangerous. Driver's doing a good job at respecting the yellow flags. And Monster doesn't drop 2 main places. I mean, that's still a massive setback because he was looking like a top 5 on his debut was very possible. But he must have been tapped round, I can only imagine, by Lewis Ward. May have also been Marvin Amons. It was, yes, that is Lewis Ward in the Alpine Sim Sport car. And might receive a penalty. We'll see what the stewards say. I mean, that's very minor, to be fair. You might get a post-race penalty, but I doubt there'll be anything too significant done about that.
Yeah, hopefully the stewards are not still reviewing the mess. I mean, that was a big mess. I'm sure they are reviewing what happened a couple of laps ago at Raidion. But hopefully for them they get through that quickly, because that was certainly a big crash. As Amans now trying to pass Ward. Let's go on board with him. Why not? As you can see, the sun is rising there. Will we see the lights go off on the buildings? It will be certainly a sign that the sun is already up in the sky. We'll see. We are only 11 minutes into this race. And let's go now on board with Warner to see if this time he can get past Claesens. Seems to have a good run.
He was very good at Eau Rouge last time, and he's really good again, and he's literally got that run absolutely perfectly. He didn't catch him too quickly. Pulls out from underneath. Now, has he got the straight line speed, or has he got too much damage as Warner? He was really confident going into this corner on the last lap. He's going to be deep on the brakes again. The Furious Sim Sport car round the outside. He's got the better line, but the Alpine Sim Sport driver trying to keep it in there. Almost contact between the two of them. Brilliant race take, and it's Chris Warner who moves up into 5th place past PJ Claesens. But he had to work for it, and now maybe he can set his sights on the 2 BMWs up the road. Mons up ahead of Ward now, so he's made that move. Up 4 places from his start now is Mons. I said he maybe was a little bit out of position on the grids. He's certainly proven me right there, and he's making good progress at the moment. A little bit under pressure though, coming out of Piron, but not quite carrying the speed through the exit is Lewis Ward. Nick Sherman's, of course, leader out of the silver dress. He's just behind these guys in that orange SimRacersWorld car. I can guarantee there's no favouritism towards that team, despite the name of the series. But safe to say, a lot of them have been here from the very start, as have much of the dress. Fantastic driver retainership, and it's fantastic for us commentators, certainly, because we feel like we know so many of these drivers very well. Van Uter, we don't know too well, to be fair. of course, is a real-life driver. And driver for Red Match Racing as well. Of course, this is his first official race in this series. And he's trying to make the move currently on John McConville. Down 17 places is Van Uter since that spin at Les Combes on the opening lap. But I think it's only a matter of time till he gets past the SimRacersWorld GT driver.
Oh! Some contact there. Careful!
Oh, contact again! And where is that Mercedes going to end up? Fortunately, going to stop just before the chicane. And that was just a little bit avoidable from the pair then, to be honest. Elbows out. Very unnecessary crash. But fortunately for McConville, at least, he hasn't picked up any more damage.
I don't know how the stewards will look into this, but I think that was, like you said, avoidable.
Danny Crow's under pressure.
I think Danny Cross one of the happiest men in racing since that his preferred class of racing TCR is coming to a racing not today, tomorrow.
Yes.
Slight delay.
Certainly much anticipation along with the Barcelona cycle. Of course, if and a few other things. Apparently, round here, they're going to make the AstroTurf more slippery.
We didn't need that, I tell you what.
Of all the things in the game, that was the one thing we didn't need.
Also at Monza, they're going to make it as well, so...
Oh, are they? Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it will deter people from picking up 1Xs at least. At least that is a bit more of a penalty, but I mean, it's tough for anyone who's raced around Radion on iRacing knows how difficult it is at the top of the hill to try to keep the car stable if you do run a little bit wide. And I mean, I don't think the 24 Hours of Spa is going to be too fun next season. And here as well, that's not easy either.
Months behind Claessens and Warner. Warner has not been able to pull away after making the move on Claessens. Testament, I think, to the pace that Claessens still has. And he's sitting in 5th. Where is Ian Roots, the series organizer? There he is. In P15, 12th in his class. Even though, once again, being 12th in your class now is not that important as in the past. Because, like you said, the class points are given based on the overall standings, regardless. So, but still, you know, it's important to get the class win, a matter of pride. But let's go back to this fight, because this is far from over, because I think that now it's Amans trying to get the move on Claessens.
Claessens has done really well to keep up. Here comes a monster. That is terrific speed round the outside. And Claessens, though, enough confident. I mean, these guys are... They're not holding back with these overtakes. I mean, outside, going into Les Combes, usually drivers just think, well, now you got the inside, mate. I'll let you have that one. Not these guys. They're very willing to push it round the outside. I think as the season goes on and they get involved in a few more crashes, they might become a bit more hesitant with their ambition. But it makes for entertaining racing as it stands, and that might be what Amans needs to make the move. But he can't afford a wiggle, he can't afford 2 wiggles, otherwise he's going to lose a place. He's got Lewis Ward just behind him, he stays behind. Ward doesn't want more contact with a driver. And you can see how this still is an 11-car battle, as a Roy Verke with a bit of an off. He's just dropped a few places. Oh, there he is. Well, he's going to drop a few more places now. Is that on the inside of Pouon? And that is, of all the places to be stuck, that is not a good one. Fortunately, he's managed to pull off a 7-point turn, and he's back on his way. But Verke, who was one of the front runners in the silver category as well, with this mistake.
This is, I think, the most slippery part of the track with all the cars, no matter traction control, big air or not. It's so slippery. Luckily for him, a silver lining in all of this, Sam, I don't think he even hit the wall. He just went, as Ward is in the pits, by the way. He just spun, didn't hit the wall, didn't hit anything else, not any other car. So Louis Ward, the first guy to come in. And let's see, clock in hand, and see how long does it take for him to come in and out of the pits. I think it is a scheduled stop, even though it's a bit early. But I think it's a... I think he said, you know, too much traffic around here. Oh, it's a penalty.
Must
Okay.
be.
Yeah.
So that was for tapping round a driver at, oh, I can't remember the name of the corner now. But I assume you remember what I'm talking about, Marco. It was...
Brussels, the long hairpin before no name, right?
Yes. Can't remember who spun round though.
He spun around. I don't
Monster?
remember. Yeah.
I think it was Monster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's just ahead of Monster now. So
Okay.
well, I say just ahead, he's 8 seconds ahead. So I don't know why, but in terms of positions, two places ahead. So Monster really lost a lot of time there. I mean, did he come into the pits? No.
I
Didn't
think he had
take him
another
that long
issue.
to-
I think he had another
Must
issue.
have done, yeah.
So maybe another spin or something. I saw his name earlier pop up into the screen in the event viewer, so I think he had another off later after that contact. By the way, at the front of the pack, still Martin van Loosenhoorn quite comfortably. He was put under big pressure last week in the media day, but tonight he's having it easy. By the way, I mean easy, somewhat easy. Fight for the lead in silver, Nick Shermans and David Fuller, and in front of them is Tom Methrel for Meraki.
I'm sure if Martin does win this race, I always ask him the same question. Was it really as easy as it looked? And he always gives a very humble opinion where, you know, it's you know, never too easy. There's always a couple of things he might cite, a couple of slides that he had. But really, it's quite leisurely, I imagine, for Martin van Loosenhoorn as it stands. 8 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Spreading a little bit out now, this pack. We got Warner a little bit ahead in 5th place. Clayton's still keeping up with Warner. I mean, considering how much damage Clayton's has got, he's doing a really good job keeping up. Then you got 1.5 seconds back to Amont, a little bit further back to Methrel, Shermans, Fuller, and then a bit more gap back to Anderson. You can just see in the background there. Amont's momentum has just stalled a little bit. He had that slide, Marco. I wonder if he's just maybe overheated those tires. Also, very exciting news about the new tyre model. Apparently the tyre wear is going to be much more realistic, where currently you can pretty much push the tyres as hard as possible. It doesn't really make any difference to the wear. In the future, it is going to make a difference. Here is a interesting battle. This is Tyler Lugo Vickery in amongst a couple of other drivers who have got damage.
Yeah, Essels and Clays.
Steve Clays, yes.
Yeah, and in front of Dijsberg, this is the fight for third in bronze. And these two drivers are really going ahead at Mercedes versus BMW. I don't know if you read the part on the new tire model on the ovals, which I think will apply also on the road. Basically, they say that if you abuse the tires when you come out, you know, at the beginning of your stint or coming out of the pits, etc., on the new tire model on the ovals, if you are too aggressive, you can quite easily have a failure.
Yes, that'll be on the new TCR car as well.
Oh, fantastico.
So I know what I'm going to do. First thing. Unfortunately, we won't have the damage model. Got a nice meme on the Apex Racing TV Facebook page. So certainly do like that, because some of the memes are, safe to say, very good.
You know,
So
I will keep doing the same things. Same thing I ever did in all my iRacing career, which is, you know, destroying skippies, but, you know, with more special effects now.
yes. Of course, yeah.
Louis Ward.
Lewis Ward. So after a drive-through penalty for Ward, he's gone off, and he's
Not
got
his
some
night.
damage on that car. Absolutely. Last season, he started the championship with three consecutive 5th places. I don't think he's going to get 5th today. Into the barrier at high speed, and that might just be the end of his day, depending on whether he's knocks out a corner. Well, he's still carrying on. I don't know what the point system actually is. I don't know how far the points go down to, but safe to say they're going to be quite insignificant to Lewis Ward today. Major disappointment for the Alpine Sim Sports driver.
I think we had a change of position for 3rd in bronze because Tyler Vickery is still in 3rd. So I think he just went wide here then. Okay, so no issues. And actually the fight is still going, and now it's James Obden also joining the party in this beautiful, beautiful Smurf blue livery. I love it.
It is quite striking compared to the other cars, especially compared to the black of Theisberg's car. Very quite discreet, the Theisberg car, and then you've got that Smurf blue, as you say, Marco, just behind.
Yeah, the only complaint I have with this series, which is the same complaint I have with BSRTC this season, by the way, there are too many black and orange cars.
Yes. It is a great color combination, of course.
I
but
agree.
Yeah, mix it up, guys. I want to see a pink team. I mean, we got one in Formula 1, of course.
Well, we had one before, it folded, 1050 Barbanera Racing.
Yes.
That's another story.
Magenta, wasn't it?
Magenta, exactly.
There you go.
It's not pink, it's magenta, was one of our catchphrases, so to speak.
I don't know what that is a metaphor for, but there you go. Lugo Vickery, he's going to lose this place to Berg finally. Down the inside he goes into Blanchimont, off the circuit though, Berg, but well, I think he's gained a little bit of time just by going off the track. He'll pick up a 1x. These drivers are limited to 25 incidents, I believe, and with the incidents we've seen so far today, a few drivers might be running it close. Into the pits comes Lugo Vickery. This is what happened to Stephen Castro.
I think he came out of the pits and said, this car is not going anywhere. Yeah, that's all she wrote for him, sadly. As we go back to this fight here, and it is certainly looking like Warner doesn't have the pace to run away from Clayson. So we talked about this earlier, but this seems to be the case still. So he made the move, but wasn't able to capitalize on it, in the sense that he's still stuck in this 5th place, not been able to close the gap on FanBuel and the Tish, the SimRacersWorld esports duo, occupying P3 and P4 right now, as we have a battle for P18 is Staines and Moretta. A bit out of position is the Meraki Racing driver. By the way, Meraki learned the lesson. Thank you, Michael, for subscribing. You know, they learned the lesson from last season when they named their team after their car, and then the drivers changed car, one of the drivers, and then they you know,
yes.
Meraki Racing AMG running with a BMW, which reminds me of the days of the BMW Sauber Ferrari in 2010.
Yes, of course. Met, of course, a gold driver. Got a few top 10s last season. Always there or thereabouts is Chris Met. I don't think he got any podiums last season. But, yeah, like I said, a few top 10s. Yeah, just behind, currently, Ben Thanes. Getting the promotion up to the silver category. He didn't win the bronze category last season as Moretta comes into pits. He's had enough of that. These drivers, of course, won't take tyres. Tyres take about 25 seconds to bolt on, and they are done separately to the fuel. So it would be a waste of time to do that. I don't think you even get any bonus points for fastest lap either, so it would be a complete waste of time. Here's Anderson under a bit of pressure then from Bod Boland. Boland, like I said earlier on as well, out of position, one of the most successful drivers in this championship. He's trying to get past his rival. To the outside goes Boland, and he is straight past. So Meraki Racing. One driver goes into the pits, another driver gains a place. And this is opening up quite well for Boland. He's only about 5 seconds off the top 5 drivers as a contact between Crows and
Ian Roots.
Ian Roots, apologies. Up 32 places now is Danny Crows.
Flashing of the headlights from the series organizers, which can mean either a very bad thing or just a way to say that he's sorry. And now he will have to live with this doubt until the end of the race, Danny Cruz.
McConville in another battle. He's lucky to still be out there after a high-speed crash earlier on. He's got the Smurf Blue Ferrari behind him of Roy Ververke. Gonna have to get the cutback for No Name. Nothing working for Ververke at the moment. This would be a brave move into film. How brave is he? He's wise, I think, is the best way to describe his braveness. But wide again for McConville. And Ververke takes the inside line. Next up, the chicane. Ververke will put his car down the inside, but McConville just about doing enough. He's not liking the inside curbs, though, McConville. Safe to say, I don't know if he's got a magnet in that car, but he's staying well away from them. I'm criticising him, to be honest, but he is holding on to the position nonetheless, and that is what matters in his Mercedes AMG. But now the Ferrari grunts can really help the driver behind down this next kind of straight.
And into Puon, of course, the grip at a premium. The tires are squealing, but both drivers make it through there safely. Now the hard braking for the bus stop. I remember back in the day when the start line of Spa was on a corner, so the last few rows of the F1 starting grid were starting basically, turning. And then they had those 1 or 2 seasons when Spa was not on the calendar, and then they changed it to what it is today, basically. The last big update to the racetrack that was.
I assume you can name those 2 years?
They were 2004, 2005?
No!
2005, 2006? Oh, I don't remember.
2003, 2006.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you are right. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Issues for William Bush, by the way. He has been tapped and turned by another of the bronze competitors. Who was that? Dries Mujdi, I think. New team, of course, for William after racing for Nomad last season and looking for a fresh start. As we are already at the halfway mark of this race. Oh!
Oh, that's a crash.
Oh, he's not the only one.
Oh, and that is Fuller from second place out of the silver drivers, and he tried to get out of the way. That was probably not the best thing to do for the Team GP esports driver. He'll get back going. He will be able to finish the race, I severely hope, but he's got severe damage now on that Audi R8. And from having a terrific 6-car battle or so for the top 5 places, all of a sudden we've lost 2 of them. Wide was Clayton's on entry, just couldn't get to the inside of the track, and undoubtedly being put off was the second place out of the silver drivers. And it's another spin then for David Fuller. He had a couple of them in the media day. No, actually, to be fair, I don't think he was put off. He may have been given a yellow flag, which may have put him off.
Oh, too bad that he turned at the very end, otherwise he would have been fine. I don't know if he did that to move out of the way of the other drivers. He went into the pits as well. But certainly, that was a big surprise, because he is a driver, Fuller, that made his title win last year in the bronze category by being quick and out of trouble for most of its races. So that is an uncharacteristic mistake. I think he made a mistake. In media day as well as Chris Moretta, I think. Oh. Oof. Chris Moretta is out of the race, and he has involved someone else in his crash. I'm trying to think, maybe it was William Bush.
That would make sense, seeing that Bush is now into the pits.
It was William Bush. So another season for William Bush starting not in a good way. Like I said, last year plagued by not a very good round, string of plagued by a string of bad results and misfortunes. As Ruben Van Buell is the first of the top runners to come into the pits. I love that BMW has these alternating lights when you come into the pits. As Ian Roots is getting passed by Van Noitert, and he's down to P14. So let's keep an eye on Van Buell then.
You want to be ahead of these guys. Unfortunately, he's not. Well, he might be... Wait, is he ahead? I think
Did he get a penalty?
I don't think he cut the line, did he? Oh, sorry, you mean it during the pits?
Yeah.
No, it was...
He didn't stop.
Oh. I mean, unless he had the Williams pit crew, of course we wouldn't have seen the pit stop if those guys were on it. But yeah, so I don't know what he could have possibly got a penalty for, because he's been by himself for the entire race.
Usually the stewards talk to us in the chat. So, trying to see in the event viewer, yeah, this seems like a pass-through.
I mean, of all the circuits in the calendar to get a drive through penalty, this and Montreal are probably the best ones. So he can't feel too sorry for himself. He's got Monza, it's probably the worst, I imagine. But yeah, really disappointing for him then. So opens it up. Amont is up into 4th place. Did we see Amont getting past Warner?
No, we didn't.
So he's up 7 places now. Tom Metherall as well. We haven't really talked about him too much. He's up 12. He's up 12 places.
Turn 1, lap 1 incident. The penalty. Well, hopefully your computer doesn't explode. Let's go and see the replay.
I can actually see this, surprisingly, unlike most replays. And I was really praising his start as well, saying how he gained 4 places on the opening lap. I think there's a bit of an asterisk, to say, by that sentence.
Ah.
It went a bit deep, so that was how...
As now he's in the pits, I think, for his proper stop.
Who was it who he tapped round then?
One of the, I think it was
Phillips.
Phillips, yeah, one of the Rev Match drivers. So Van Buell is in. Let's see where he jumps out. I think he will be outside of the top 20. Yes. Comes McConville, Thyssen. Ben Muse is also in for SimRacersWorld Pro-Am. Where do we have here? Steve Clay is trying to come back. Verbeek also had a tough race. Tyler Vickery came into the pits. Did he stop or did he get a penalty? He did stop. So I think he's good to go until the end of the race. He was running, of course, in 3rd as the highest in his class. And now this is a fight for 2nd and 3rd in silver with Ben Thanes and Ronald Moon's Rev Match versus Race Masters.
A long way off the silver class leader of Nick Sherman's. Let's say Sherman's, he got a few race wins in the silver category last season. I think he got 3 or 4 of them out of the 12 rounds, which is very impressive considering that he finished in a close 2nd place in the championship, quite far away from 1st place, but very close to 3rd and 4th if I recall correctly. It looks like he's going to start his season absolutely superbly, and Sherman's also won the media day as well, so establishing himself as the favourite with He's a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes from David Fuller, maybe just quite getting comfortable with his car. Maybe trying something different with the setup. Of course, this Spa circuit and Daytona, as we had at the media day, extremely low rear wings the drivers have to run, which makes the rear downforce, or the rear grip at least, very much more difficult. Bob Boland into the pits along with Chris Warner. So Warner having to pit quite early in comparison to his rivals, picking up a little bit of damage in the early stages did Warner, so that could have certainly hindered him. Or maybe it's the fact that they're driving Mercedes. Maybe their higher fuel consumption. Not quite sure. But Warner is stopped. And, well, he'll hope that a little bit of that bonnet damage is buffed out ever so slightly.
About to run into some traffic is our race leader, because the last of the running cars should be Scott Malcolm, I think. No, William Bush is also running. Yeah, the last of the running cars is William Bush, so Scott Malcolm is just in front of our race leader. And I think that will be the first proper lapping he will have to do tonight. People are asking where is Ryan Walker in the chat. You can find one of them in the chat, and the other Ryan Walker is sadly out of the race. Yeah, involved in that big mess on the Camel Straight in the 4th lap.
Should see him back next week. Not sure which circuit we are at next week. Now going up the calendar, I'll be able to inform you all. As Martin Van Lutenau comes into the pit, so that seems to be pretty much the limit of fuel. A couple of drivers might be able to stretch it a bit further. Obviously, if you got the slipstream effect, then you might be able to go a little bit further. Also, I believe the BMW has bare fuel consumption because it's got a smaller fuel tank by literally like 4%. But I think maybe it has slightly better fuel consumption. But then it's got a small fuel tank anyway because they're all limited to 70%. So yeah, it's pretty much even, to be fair, amongst all the cars. It ought to be at least.
Well, and you know, as Van der Slick, the Tige, Amants, Metrol, Shermans are all coming in, same as ranks. There's like a massive migration in the pits. I don't know if you have a term for when there's like a large group of sheep moving from
a herd.
I heard of moving from like the hills to the plains and back again. You know, we have a word for that, but I don't know the exact translation. So, but yeah, that looked a bit like it. Ronald Moons, by the way, staying out, same as Ben Thames. So the two leaders in silver are staying out. So did no, the Tish went to the pits and came out. So yeah, I think most of the field has gone in, except for these two drivers here, Thames and Moons, marking each other very, very closely, the two silver drivers 1 and 2.
And Hobden.
And Hobden, yes.
No, I thought Van Utsman would stay out as well, but no, he's coming to the pits. So yeah, Hobden with fuel in his pockets. Still going on in this first stint. Side by side between Methil, this is important. Methil versus Warner, and Methil has jumped Warner. And that's really important for position then. So that's for 5th place, I believe, when everything's all sorted. So that's very significant. Nice lap times there from Tom Methil. He went 1 lap further than his rival, and he only needed 1 lap to get the jump, and he's looking very good for a strong result after not a particularly good qualifying for Tom Methil, but he's recovered extremely well, and he's pretty much going to do as well as he could have hoped going into today's racing. Tige is, of course, ahead of all of these guys because he was running in 3rd place earlier on. And then it's Amont, then Methil, then Warner. Then Shermans, Boland, and Anderson. So not too much change, to be fair, out of the drivers who have pitted. So not much changes in terms of caused by the pit stops. The most significant one certainly Methil getting past Chris Warner.
Next week, by the way, we are all going to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada, and that is going to be, I would say, a chaotic race. Certainly, with the big numbers this series has, I guess another exciting night for us and another tough night of work for the stewards.
Personally, I find that the best driver's circuit in the world. I think you know, just load up a random car and do some laps around Montreal. Honestly, it is so much fun just trying to get it closer and closer to the barriers each time. It's so much fun. So I'm sure the drivers will have a lot of fun practicing for that race. Maybe not quite so much fun racing, especially if they pick up a bit of damage in the early stages. But you're absolutely right, Marco. Will be tough work for the stewards. A little bit wide there. Don't want to pick up a slowdown at the top of Eau Rouge, the Radion. For Chris Warner, of course.
And judging by the headlights of the cars, I think this is officially a day race now.
It is 6:07 in the morning.
Yeah, is it the 15th of May?
Yes,
it is.
Always the 15th of May.
Of course. So yeah, I think it's officially a day race. The headlights have been turned slightly off by the iRacing system. And I think when we go back to the start-finish line, we shall see. Yes, we can see it from here right now that the pit complex is now the lights of the buildings there have been turned off. It's certainly a spectacle at night when you are there on top of No Name Corner and looking towards the pit. The pits you see this bright spot of lights in the middle of nowhere, basically, because the entirety of the track is basically unlit, except for a couple of, for example, a little bit of lights here in the karting track. But apart from that, it's pitch black. No, you have seen a 24-hour race, and you see from far away the very bright lights of the pit straight, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Sure is. One of the most spectacular circuits in the world. We've got a spectacular battle as well between James Hobden, Tyler Vickery, or as Van Uterts, I think, has just had a crash. He's falling down the order. Ooh, that's Job Van Utert then dropping way down.
I think he's either been crashed or disqualified.
Right. Potentially the latter.
Back to this fight then. For third and fourth in bronze, plus McConville is in 17 silver, and then Thijs Vandenberg is in fifth in the bronze class. By the way, since we are about 7 minutes away from... No, we are 14 minutes away from the end of the race. Maybe we can give a recap of the overall and the class races. So let's go, let's do that. In the lead overall and also of the gold category, it is none other than Maarten van Luzenoord. He is enjoying a nice lead over his opponents. Kevin van der Slik, his teammate for Rev Match as well, is in second. Third for the Tige. Behind him is Marvin Julian Amans, and then Tom Mettrel for Meraki is in fifth, being put under pressure by Chris Werner, of course. In the silver, it's Nick Schurmans, your leader, in front of David Fuller, who has made a comeback. I have no idea how he's still going after that crash he had. He had a smaller crash, yes. It was Moreta who had massive hit. In the end, Fuller just ruined his rear wing, which is not ideal, but better than crashing the way Moreta did. Moons in third, Jeremy Essels for Dynamics is in fourth, and then Roy Vervecchi for Automech is in fifth. In the bronze, with the asterisk, is Ingemar Andersson. We don't know if he's going to stay there. Probably, I think, a silver or golden badge in the future for him. But for tonight, he's bronze. He's in first. Pim Bao is in second, in front of James Hobden in third. There he is. Lugo Vickery in fourth, and Vandenberg in fifth. So you can see, apart from the outlier in Anderson, it's very tight for the bronze class, and that is certainly a good point in favor of the organizers, because they have split these drivers very well this season.
Yeah, Pim Bauer is losing quite a bit of time at the moment to the drivers behind. He's only 1.2 seconds now ahead of James Hobden, who actually only just came into the pits, of course, did Hobden. So slots back into second place. This is the closest battle out on circuit. Medal and Warner still relatively close to one another. We've got a lot of gaps around 1.5 seconds, but these guys are all within 1 second of one another. Ben Mears just behind as well in the 222 car. Remember, Mears won the AM category in this series in Season 2 around this very circuit. The first ever broadcast we did on by us, Apex Racing TV, of this championship. But got a few drivers in front of him. I think he'll feel quite confident that he might be able to get a couple of them in the time remaining in this race. Getting very close as Rob Thiessen is slow, maybe just lets him past.
Well, the car is not feeling too good, I can say, judging by the damage.
Yes.
I think he went wide or made a mistake. No, he made a mistake. Oh. Well, that will not do him or his car any favor. In fact, he has made a beeline for the pits.
What position was he in?
He was already way back. He was
right,
seventh.
okay.
Seventh.
Right.
Okay.
Under pressure is is James Hobden. Vickery to the outside. Into Lecombe. Confidence for the Mercedes driver. And it was wise confidence as well. He's up into second place. And with how Pim Bauer is particularly pulling away from these guys, you can see him just ahead. Tyler Vickery might have a chance of winning this race. Back comes Hobden though. He's not giving up on this race win. And he's back down the inside into No Name Corner now. And it's Hobden who moves back ahead, all going on behind as well. With McConville and Mears already gets him past Berger's Mears. So he is making good progress so far in that SimRacersWorld Ferrari. But if these guys stop fighting, they can certainly catch up to Pim Bauer just up the road. But they can't decide who's going to lead the cavalry. Hobden having to defend.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx him, but this is, I think, the best run in the series for Tyler. He has had another driver with very, very bad luck last season. In the first few rounds he did, and he had to stop for, I think, personal commitments. But he is having a fantastic run tonight, and I think, yeah, this will be massive for his confidence. Not even if he finishes on the class podium or wins, but just the way he's racing tonight is certainly a big confidence boost for him. And of course he's running from the USA, so there's a bit of time difference to consider as well. Also, the fact that he's racing means that the Hurricane is not directly involving where he lives, which is of course good, racing out of Florida. So very happy that he is okay.
Yes, definitely. Best of luck for everyone in the Caribbean and of course on the coast of America as well. Oh, that's a spin into the wall for someone. McConville?
McConville, I think it was McConville, yeah.
Yeah. I just saw that in the background. Here he is. Silver driver John McConville. And he's gonna hit the wall here. I don't think he's gonna hit it too hard. I mean, if they're gonna make that more slippery, I would say. I mean, it's gonna be outside of turn 16 at Hockenheim slippery, I think.
How dear me.
Which I must say, I would support all runoff areas to be outside of turn 16 at Hockenheim slippery. Anyone who doesn't know, I mean, where have you been these past few months? I mean, what a crazy race that was in the Formula 1.
Oh! Sorry, I thought
Mears
was going. I don't know if you have it in the UK, but we have like I don't know if you know five-a-side soccer. No, it's futsal or whatever. Yes, but in some places here you can play it on a slippery field with a mixture of water and soap.
Oh, that sounds great.
It is a fantastic recipe for injuries. If you haven't tried
at
it,
least you're clean.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You
then
can't
you
build
end
up much of a. You can't become too smelly, can you? At least.
No, the problem is staying on your feet, because
Still under massive pressure at the moment is Hobton. When they're not fighting, honestly, they can catch up to Pinball. If this wasn't a fight, I think Pinball would be sweating himself. I think he'd be getting a little bit smelly unless he's currently driving in a bath. I certainly wouldn't want to give him that challenge. As looking to the as off the circuit is Mias.
Yeah,
Whilst
I
everyone
saw.
else is fighting.
Yeah, I saw Vickery go very deep there. But yeah, Muse went very deep. Let's see. Well, not that deep was Vickery in the end. Just a mistake from Muse and back to P20. Well, he's still in P20. He didn't get a massive slowdown in the end, which is good for him, of course. Let's see a bit back at the front with the two teammates here, Anderson and Cruz.
Great recovery drive from Danny Kreis,
Yeah.
undoubtedly.
Only 36 positions gained.
Yes. We sometimes see 30 odd in the BSI Mixed 5 Pro Series on Tuesday night, of course, on the iRacing Esports Network. Of course, that's a 20-minute race. He has had an hour, but I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a gain as big as this in this championship. And Keith and Van Loosenord would struggle to replicate this charge as Anderson braked very strangely on the inside of the circuit and very early. I think that may have been a bit...
Fernando is faster than you.
Thoroughly recommend, by the way, listening to the Beyond the Grids, all of them, but particularly the one with Felipe Massa, if you want to know more about the Fernando is faster than you.
Well, also, I think I made someone very happy when I think about it, because someone in the chat earlier said that I sound like the Ferrari radio guy.
Yes.
And hopefully I made him happy by...
Can you say one of the phrases, like box, box, box?
Box, 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 Fernando, box, box, box. I love to say Fernando, because that was when Andrea Stella was there. I don't know, he's at McLaren now.
Ah, right, yep. Oh, so he went with Fernando, did he?
Yeah, and he's still there.
Okay. Boland gets ahead of Shermans. Not much resistance put up by Shermans. Still in the lead of the silver drivers, but you would think you'd want a few additional points, but so close to the end now, do not want to get involved in a crash. We've got less than 4 minutes to go, and the race leader is about to cross the line, so we will have this lap and another one. So, well, I say that, I mean, we'll have this next lap and then another one on top of that. So I don't think it makes too much of a difference for him. 21 seconds ahead. You'd need a bit of a Lando Norris moment from the weekend if he was not to win this race. Or Joe Benazzi crashing on the last lap. But even then, he's got a significant margin. I think even if he had a crash like that, he could probably limp the car round and get to the end. Closing, it was still Methil and Warner really close to one another, but Warner just with too much damage, I think, to make too much of an attack. Got a few incidents, though, clearly, to spare. Well, we can check what all the drivers' incidents are at the end of the race. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to watch it during the race. Hopefully, I'll get that ability later on in the season. But I will just say at the end of this race, anyone who was a little bit too close for comfort, Warner deep on the brakes. That was a bit too close for comfort, but he just hasn't got straight on speed. Again, Methil, clearly these guys haven't been running off the circuit for the entire race. Well, they've been doing, because they're track extending very, very happily at the moment. Trying to do whatever they can to claim this last place. Boland's only 2 seconds behind and catching up to these guys by half a second a lap. He's not going to have enough unless these two start fighting. But you can see that's that car of Warner, the Fury Sport car, just has not got enough straight line speed with the damage he's picked up in the very early stages.
Yes, and I'm surprised he's still able to hold on to the top 6 position. Absolutely brilliant drive for him to come back from that issue he had. I think he will at worst finish in 6th, unless his damage caused him to, you know, burn too much fuel, but I don't think this is going to be the case. By the way, let's see where the race leader is. Just very quickly coming around Blanchimont and into the bus stop. So yes, this will be the white flag final lap of the race, or as per usual, Sarela Blanca here at Spa. One more lap for the race leader.
He's not going to quite catch up to the bronze late race leaders. And by the way, I'm not including Anderson in the bronze race lead because it's quite inevitable that he's probably going to be promoted. But Pim Bao, for example, is about 0.8 of a lap behind the race leader. So he won't quite get lapped. And that'll be disappointing for Bao because it'll mean that he's got one more lap to hang on to the lead. And that lead is coming down in the bronze category. We'll go to that later on. Warner still can't really get too much closer. I would just like to say thanks for tuning in. I mean, you know, you guys listening in, and especially the drivers as well. You make this stream possible, so very much thanks. And anyone who's not familiar with the series, who's maybe tuning in for the first time on the for this championship, which I imagine will be a lot of you. You know, hopefully that you've enjoyed this, and we've got 11 more weeks of this. So you certainly do tune in every Wednesday evening at this same time, because you know how entertaining this racing can be, and you can listen to Marco's voice for the next 11 weeks. So, you know, you don't want to turn that down. And also, if you wouldn't mind, please visit the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. Maybe give it a subscribe as well, because we do many more races very much like this. And yeah, of course, check out our other broadcasts on the iRacing Esports Network, the World GT Series on a Monday evening, and the BSR MX5 Pro Series on a Tuesday evening as well. Van Loosnod, 1/3 of a lap to go for him to take his first race victory of the season. And Marco, we kind of felt as though this could potentially happen, but Daytona was encouraging, where he was really pushed for that race win. Today it's been very simple for him, though. He hasn't put a foot wrong, and this, one of the most difficult tracks on the calendar, he's just made it look incredibly simple.
Absolutely. He, I think, had a more relaxing race than the race stewards, who are complaining right now of not having the chance to enjoy a beer. And the pizza, of course, because of the hard work. But Van Loosener, what a fantastic driver. And he starts the season on the right foot once again.
Here he comes then. With Rev Match Racing Esports, Martin Van Loosener is going to get his championship under the perfect way. The reigning champion wins at Spa. Nick Shermans will be the next class winner to cross the line. He's still got a little bit to go. David Fuller having an interesting battle. This for second place out of the silver drivers. He's fighting with Ronald Moons. These two pretty much by themselves out on circuit. And we've also got the bronze class victory as well, with Pim Bao looking as though he's going to win out. He's got Ben Mears catching up to him at the moment, so he'll want to hang on to that one, but he can't afford to get involved in a crash. This is for second place out of the bronze drivers. Tyler Lugo Vickery leading the way. Here comes Shermans though. He gave up that position to Bodbo, probably the wise thing to do, and Nick Sherman's going to take a dominating silver class victory. It could have been close perhaps if David Fuller hadn't made a mistake, but Nick Shermans takes the perfect start for his championship. He wins in the silver category, 8th place overall. A fantastic point haul today for him. Pim Bao still leading the way. He has something's happened to Mears.
Yeah, disqualification. I think a disqualification.
Dear. So Pim Bao then looks as though it's going to be a bit more simple for him to get to the end of the race. I wonder if he's just been nursing those incidents for a while. You can see how this chasing pack of bronze jars, Hobson, Lugo Vickery, Berg, all trying to chase him down. You've also got Mujdi as well, not too far in the background either. But they just have been fighting too much. They haven't been able to set their sights on Pim Bao up in the lead. And I think this will be Pim Bao's first ever official race in this series. And it looks like it's going to be his first ever win as well. Vickery, though, can he catch up to the driver ahead of Hobson? They're really catching up to the race leader with just a few corners to go. To the outside goes Vickery. Bao is pushing this one right to the limit. Is there going to be contact? There is contact between the two leaders in the bronze category. Who's going to win? Where are they all? Vickery's gone off the circuit. It looks like it was going to be an open goal for him. It's going to be Berg to win. And who would have guessed that? With just a couple of corners to go, 1.5 tenths ahead of Pim Bao. Wow.
Tyler
What
did
a
the right
finish.
thing. Tyler would have been tagged with a cut penalty because he wouldn't been able to serve the slowdown in time. You see, one of the drivers was, I think, Pimbao was moving left and right, trying to, get himself, off that slowdown penalty. Let's see a replay. Let's see a replay because that was absolutely crazy.
I mean, Pinball. It looks like, I mean, Hobson's way too deep on the brakes there, gets a bit of contact. Vickery is, chicane, not having any of that. And Bao could have still won it, but he was too powerful on the exit, put too much power down. And Theisberg, I mean, we're a while away from December the 25th, but I mean, it's come early for him. He was nowhere with a couple of corners to go, and he's seen all that going on. So getting disqualified then was James Hobson with that contact.
Okay, and I think I don't know if Bao he didn't get a slowdown, so because he just got turned around. Let's see the results, and we can make some clarity. And I think it's going to be a late night work for the stewards because, yeah, just at the very last moment. They got this gift from the back. What an exciting finish. Let's go through the race results, of course, starting from the gold class.
Yes, and Smartsman Leesnod, he wins out by 24 seconds over his teammate Kevin van der Slik. Matthias de Tiege rounding out the podium. A bit quite of a race for de Tiege, but good effort. Marvin and Mons, if it weren't for a poor qualifying, I think he could have certainly been on the podium. He was catching up to de Tiege in the closing stages for pretty much the entire race. Finishes in 4th, though. Tom Methel up 13 places. Great recovery drive to 5th. There's Chris Warner, Bod Bonand, Nick Sherman's top of the silver drivers. Danny Kroes, Ingmar Anderson. It's safe to say, I think he's going to be a silver or a gold driver, so I don't think there's any point in calling him the bronze class winner. Gregory Franks finishes in 11th place. Ian Roots, a bit quiet, but I mean, 12th place. Not Ian, the 11th place Roots today. Although he was 11th out of the gold drivers, so I mean, I'll take that. David Fuller finishes in 13th. Second place out of the silver drivers, just ahead of one of me, so these two had a terrific battle. Roy Monster was running up in the top 6 at one point, but got spun round. Decent recovery though to 15th. There's Ruben Van Buell, who got a penalty and a crash. Jeremy Hessels, Roy Verke. Theisberg then wins the bronze category. That's pretty mad. Pim Bao, second place. I think he'll take that, to be honest, with that craziness on the last chicane. John McConville just behind. There's Juice Mujdi will round out the podium. Tyler Lugo Vickery just behind those guys. Then it was Ben Thanes. Ben Mears got disqualified. All these rounds are one lap down, by the way. Mears got disqualified. Hobden got disqualified. There's Brian Van Utven, who just got picked up some damage, I think, hence why he was one lap down. And also Steve Clays. Then Scott Malcolm and William Bush were 2 laps down. Then the proper retirees were Rob Teaton, Job Van Utert, PJ Claytons, Chris Muretta, Lewis Ward, Lee Deemer, Ryan Walker, Ewan Marshall, Dion Phillips, Neil Cooper, Lee Woodburn, Stu Musselwhite, Stephen Castrop, Brian Holmes, and Seb Herbera. There were a few of those retirements. It was a high attrition rate. By the way, the incidents, how many incidents drivers picked up? Bartman Leesnell, by the way, got 13. Bod Bowman got 19. By the way, 25 instant limit. Job Van Uters actually got disqualified with 25. Ben Mears got 25. John McConville got 24. David Fuller got 23. And also winner out of the bronze drivers, Theisberg, he got 24. So he was 1 instant away. Lugo Vickery, who finished 3rd in that category, he got 24 as well. So they were really on the edge. Smushti on 23. So all the bronze drivers running it very close near the end. And what a terrific battle that was amongst them. What a terrific battle from up and down the field. We've got quite a few interviews. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get through everyone. But I think the first driver we're going to have to chat with is Martin van Leesnod, because he's absolutely dominated, backing up his championship win from last season. Martin, congratulations. It looked very easy from where we were looking, but I mean, 24 seconds. You must be over the moon with that first race win of the season.
Hello, guys. Yeah, I'm definitely happy with the result, of course. Didn't expect to be that much on at front, but yeah, I really love Spa, so it's one of my favorites. And yeah, it all worked out. We did the setup work, we did everything right, I think, and yeah, made the Ferrari work on this track. So yeah, I'm really happy with the results.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you getting the hang of the Ferrari? I know you haven't done that much racing in the past in the Ferrari, but I mean, judging by that performance, you seem to have got it pretty dialed in.
Yeah, we're starting to get a hang of it. Definitely, it's the car is not like chosen one of the favorites, but yeah, I mean we're trying to make it as fast as possible using VRS, and yeah, it looks like it's starting to work out. I think the Audi's still a little bit quicker, setup wise and also lap time wise, on this track at least. But yeah, we'll see what the difference are going to be, especially with the new update tomorrow with the BOP changes. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see about that. But yeah, about this race, I think this is yeah, was an awesome race.
Definitely. We've got a new point system for this season, which I think kind of rewards consistency a little bit more than maybe last season when we had the MotoGP scoring system. I think now we've got now it's just overall points. Consistency is going to be rewarded a little bit more. So does that change your attitude at all about these rounds? Because whilst you have got the drop rounds, you can't afford to have too many incidents, I imagine, because just finishing second place at every round like Kevin did today, might well prove to be a good strategy.
Okay, yeah, I haven't read all the things about this about the rules and about the point system, but you say that the incidents are going to count as well, because I think I had 12 or 13 this round. So if those are sort of penalty points, I need to watch that for the next race.
Well, certainly for the next race, we're heading to Montreal. Do you think the Ferrari's going to be strong around there? And do you enjoy that circuit as much as you do around Spa?
I don't have any clue. I've only driven Montreal with open wheelers, with the MP430, FW31, and yeah the Formula Renault 2.0, 3.5, etc. So yeah, I don't know what to expect. I haven't practiced on it yet, so we have to wait and see. And yeah, I hope to get a setup where you can put the car over the curbs and yeah, make it quick.
We certainly wish you the best of luck for that one. Martin, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yes, guys, I want to thank you guys for covering this series. Would like to thank Ian Roots and all the guys for hosting this series and getting everything together. Would like to thank my team for getting all the setup work done and practice in. And I would also like to thank UGX Racing Simulators, RB Scaleworks, and Uitert.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Martin, and congratulations on your race win today.
See you later, guys.
So that was Rev Match Racing Esports, Martin van Loozenhoorn. Marco, who do you fancy having a chat with now?
Let's have a talk with the P2 driver, which was Kevin van der Slick. We should be in our booth right now. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, hello.
So it was second place for you in the end. You were best of the rest, so to speak. There was no reason, no way. I think you could catch Martin, but in the end, I think a very satisfying result for you and a nice one to finish.
Yeah, definitely. The pace was really good from both of us. The star was not actually really good of mine, but yeah, Marta was just another level, and I was just yeah, best of the rest, like you said. I had a great race. No, really much getting involved into stuff. Just actually practicing and doing my own race, and that's it. And P2 is really good.
And how was the race, especially the practice qualifying at night, then racing into the morning? How was it? How much did the track evolve going, from night to somewhat of a daylight condition.
Yeah, that was actually pretty fun because in the night you can like do the setup from your car a little aggressiver. You can just hit the throttle a little more, and in race pace you just have to like manage the tires until it's getting like bright. And the tires after pit stop they went a little bit up, so I had little issues in the outlap. But after like 2 or 3 laps, my tires went back to normal, and then I just kept doing my laps and pretty consistent laps, and drove away from P3.
Next week, we will be in a much different racetrack, of course. We're going to be in Montreal. What are your thoughts about that racetrack, and are you concerned about, racing there against more or less 50 other competitors, a very narrow racetrack?
Um, I'm just looking forward to it. Like every track and every race I go into themselves. Yeah, Canada. I'm not really experienced on that track, but I'm just getting tomorrow. Just get right on the setup and get him the set for the guys as well, and then we start practicing. Yeah, maybe tomorrow night, and then hopefully we get a good quality setup as well and get the pole position a 1-2 again, and hopefully a 1-2 again in the race.
Awesome, Kevin. Thank you very much. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, of course the Sim Race World. It's not a season opener. I think it's the biggest of all time. Here we drove with 50 cars, and especially you guys for covering it like always. Um, yeah, that's it. The sponsors as well from the Ref Match Esports, and then yeah, see you next week.
Thank you very much. Catch you next time. Have a good night.
And see you. Bye bye.
So that was Kevin van der Slik, another Racecraft Racing Esports driver. Rev match.
Rev
Oh
match, yeah.
dear. I think I made that mistake at the start of the race as well. It's very bad.
And also, yeah, we have also driver, of course, racing for Race Masters Esports to add to the confusion, Ronald Moons.
Too
But
many.
yeah,
So, next interview, I fancy having a chat with David Fuller because he had maybe a chance at the race victory, but just has had a small mistake. David, in one sense, you must be a little bit disappointed that maybe you could have won that race, but still finished second place out of the silver drivers. But at the same time, you must feel quite relieved because quite often spinning at Blanchemont ends up quite a lot worse than what it ended up for you.
Yeah, it was a cracking race up until that point. I was concentrating so hard on trying to work a plan to get round Nick. The first part of the plan was to let Tom go, and then hopefully Tom might cause a bit of trouble with Nick and then push him back into me. But that didn't work. And then the next plan was try and save a bit of fuel and maybe get him in the pit stops. But then when that car spun in front, I don't know, I just kind of like tunnel vision and focused on it, and then that was it. I was round. And you've probably seen us rolling backwards straight, and I had no idea why. I didn't realize how close to the wall I was. I thought I could sort of turn and brake and then maybe do another 180, but it didn't work.
Still, a pretty good battle with Ronald Moons, though, in the second half of the race. You two seem to just be glued together. Was that damage affecting you at all, maybe with your straight line speed?
Yeah, I was down about maybe 15 Ks at the top of Radion. So I was able to take it flat consistently with the damage. That's how down I was on pace. But in the middle sectors, I could see that I was sort of clinging on to, I think Ian was in front of us. I could see the relative, I was clinging on to him, but then in the first and last sectors, I was just losing about a second. So yeah, I knew he was going to catch us. I was watching the time and I was worried about the fuel because of the damage. I just basically put in the bare minimum fuel I thought I would need. So I could see him coming towards us, and I was just a case of, I know he's going to come, but I just need to make sure that I can cling with him in the middle sector and maybe make another move. So he did get round us, but then I knew if I just stick with it, I might be able to make another move back, and it worked.
Absolutely. And it must be quite positive for you, judging by the media day and today. You've had a few spins, but it must be really positive that you've made this jump forwards into the silver category, but you know that you're mega competitive and you're going to be in for a shot of the championship, whereas before the season started, I guess it was a bit unknown.
Yeah, I decided to go with the Audi, just to mix it up a bit. I've been driving the Mercedes quite a lot, and I prefer something maybe a little bit more loose and better turning. So I thought I'd give the Audi a shot. I'm still, as you can see, I'm still trying to get to grips with it. But yeah, that's no excuse. But yeah, I thought I'd give the Audi a go. And obviously see how I get on in silver class. But I think it is going to be pretty close between. I think Nick's probably just got the edge on us at the moment, and I think Steve and a few of the other guys will start picking up on the other tracks. So I think it's going to be quite close in silver.
We're certainly looking forward to seeing this championship evolve, and been great to chat to you, David. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, you guys. I'll be watching the rerun tomorrow. I'll probably skip the bit where I spin out, but I'll watch it. To Ian, he's obviously there's been some challenges getting paints out and stuff like that. And then obviously we thought we are going to have a balance of performance for this race. So yeah, quite a lot work done from Ian and the guys, and then just the team GB. There was only me and William, who's moved across from Nomad in the race. I haven't actually seen how William got on, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully we'll have a full squad out next week.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck for Montreal next week, David, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
That's David Fuller, of course, for Team GB Esports. Marco, probably one more interview for you. Who do you want to have a chat with?
Well, I want to have a perspective on that mess that we had at the last corner in the bronze class. So let's bring in our esteemed colleague Tyler Vickery. Hello, Tyler.
Hello. Yeah, I happy with my results, but that was yeah, I'm mad at myself. I had the win handed to me, and yeah.
I feel your pain, man. I was actually stuck there with an Audi R18 a few months ago. I even made it to the Twitch highlights
Oh,
highlight video at the end of the week. So
I'll probably be on the highlights on the Twitch highlights video.
but
Just
I want to tell you something. Remembering you had some difficulties last season and you had a lot of trouble. This performance was absolutely night and day compared to last year. And no matter how it finished, I know it hurts a bit right now. A massive confidence boost for the rest of the season.
yeah, it's definitely brought a confidence boost. It dropped at first when I saw Anderson with the B license, but then I didn't realize that he was actually going to be bumped up anyways because of just his race pace in general. I'm glad I was stuck with my gut and just made my own setup because originally I was going to try to take one from VRS, and I'm glad I didn't because I might have done worse. But I was happy with how I did with pace. I'm happy with how this went. I mean, even though I didn't take the win, but being able to fight with Thieves and Pim, I mean, even Hobden, I was impressed with how I was able to keep up with them. And then even the early pit stop where I decided to pit early, I was just keeping an eye on the times, and I saw they were pulling away from me. But then as soon as they started battling, I caught right back up, and especially when pit stops for them took place. So it brought a lot of confidence to me, knowing I could be able to give a good fight for this bronze championship now.
What about next week then? Racing in Montreal.
One of my favorites actually. I've been running a lot of IMSA races previously, so I've got somewhat of a setup already. I'm definitely going to be doing some more practice with though, but I'm looking forward to that race. It's one of my favorite. Granted, it's a lot smaller than Spa, so hopefully we'll have some better clean racing. And as long as well, actually, it was clean racing, but as long as I don't make any silly mistakes there, especially the chicane, that's going to be the one downfall for me. But I mean, I can't wait for next week.
And one more thing, the fact that you are racing gives us an idea that it's all good down there in Florida, at least where you live right now.
Yes, I'm kind of glad that no power was lost. We got where I live at in Central Florida. We got lucky. The Hurricane Dorian did move further right than what was expected, so a lot of the impacts were over on the beaches. I'm still going to be heading over to Daytona probably in another 2 or 3 weeks to check on my girlfriend's dad's house. But we were very, very thankful and grateful that we didn't have a direct impact like we were expecting. Because if we had a direct impact, it would have been interesting on whether I would have been able to even make the race or not. So just being able to not worry about the hurricane and being able to make it for the race, that's the one other thing I'm grateful for.
Awesome, awesome to hear that, Tyler. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Of course, you guys, my colleagues, for broadcasting this. iRacing Esports Network as well. It's awesome that we've got them on board now. I got to give a shout out to my college, Full Sail University. I got to shout out to Gus Ramsey for giving me opportunities for learning a lot of the sports casting. Lastly, phenomenal pH aware for pulmonary hypertension disorder. A few of the guys I race with, I give a shout out to them. Then just shout out to you guys and Alex for letting me be able to run the paint schemes and everything.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tyler, and we shall catch you next week.
Definitely. Thanks, Marco.
So that was Tyler Vickery, of course, driving for Apex Racing TV. It's great to have our name on the grid. I think we're only going to be able to get one more interview.
Yes, and he was previewing, if you caught it in the broadcast, our new logo, which is going to debut next week. So,
very nice.
Yeah, one more then. Who are you going to take, Sam?
I think I'm going to have a chat with.
Wow! It just disappeared.
Oh,
I was looking at the head.
As head of the 11th place Roots fan club, and considering that I'm wearing one of the t-shirts right now, I'm disappointed with that. But it does mean that we are going to have a chat with another driver, and I think it's going to have to be with Marvin Amont. So apologies to Ingmar Anderson. We'll have a chat with you next week, certainly. But Marvin, congratulations out there. Back to full-time in the series. Great to see you. That was a good recovery drive. A lot of overtakes you had to make, and looks very much fun for you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. Glad to be back. It was, I was happy. Well, in the practice, I was not happy at all because I was thinking I didn't have to pace in the Ferrari. But in the race, it was a different world. I was very fast, and I had the pace with the guys in front of me, and then the slipstream of the Ferrari, it's so great. It's so fast, that car on the end of the straight. So yeah, I'm happy P4. Mr. Consistency is back.
Yes, definitely. Hopefully you're going to be able to put a few more of those P4s together. How close were you to getting to Matthias Statij in the end? According to the time screen, 2 seconds. And considering that you were probably about 10 seconds behind him at one point, did at any point you think that you might just be able to catch him on the last lap?
Yeah, I was thinking when I was only 5 seconds behind him, I could take him at the end. So I was pushing a lot. I take it easy on the beginning with the off track, so I had a spare at the end. I only used 11 of them, so I had enough spare now. But I think if the race was only 1 lap longer, or I was 1 lap faster, I was 1 lap earlier, overtake Chris, then maybe I had P3, but I'm happy with it. Pace was good, so on to Montreal.
Definitely. And how did your teammates do? Because, of course, there's a lot of racing drivers out there. But in terms of your actual team, which you score points with, who are you scoring points with? Because I believe you're in a trio.
No.
Are you not?
No, I am with Kevin.
Right, okay.
we're a duo, so we scored very good points today.
Yes, so you're in the lead of the championship.
Well, that's great. Leading to the trophy.
Yes, I mean, very positive start. So best of luck for ET for the rest of the season. And before you let you go, Marvin, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank Kevin, my teammate, and Maarten for the setup. The setup was, yeah, it was fantastic. At the end, I didn't feel anything strange at the car. It was like the race was just started. So thanks, big thanks to them. Big thanks to you guys for stream this whole, of cover this whole season again. And thanks to all our sponsors, UGX, Uitert, RB Skillworks, and yeah, that was it.
Thanks for having a chat with us, Marvin, and best of luck for Montreal next week.
Thanks. See you next week. Bye bye.
So that was Marvin Julian Mons, the third Rev Match Racing esports driver who we've had a chat with this evening. So I think that pretty much rounds off the interviews and on the most part our broadcast for this evening, Marco. But I mean, once again, if we needed any reminder that this series is great, we got one today. A lot of incidents, but that was properly action-packed. One of the most action-packed races I think we've ever witnessed. And in classic SimRacersWorld style, the last 10 minutes goes absolutely crazy, and everything just gets thrown out of the window in terms of logic and the form book. Fantastic entertainment and fantastic to broadcast once again.
Beautiful, amazing. Cannot wait for Montreal, to be honest. It is going to be a tough ask for the drivers because of the way the track is, but I think that the surprises will not be amiss. I mean, it's a track that doesn't allow for any kind of mistake, and sometimes if an opponent makes a mistake, you can be involved without having any fault. So it is going to be a round that you guys don't want to miss.
Yes, certainly recommend tuning in next week then for the second round of Season 5 of the Sim Racers World GT Championship. Of course, special thanks to Dynamics, Paintball and Sim Racing. The perfect combination. What you can't do the two of them in tandem, but maybe that's something that they're working on. But certainly do check them out. They're based in Belgium, and I believe it's Belgium at least. So yeah, certainly do check out them. And special thanks for them for sponsoring this series, of course, and thanks to the drivers. Of course, thanks for you to watching in, making this stream really fun. Had upwards of about 80 viewers at one point, and considering that this is the first round of a championship on the iRacing Esports Network, we really do appreciate that. So hopefully we'll see you back then at Montreal. But for now, from me and from Marco, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next week.